I hope you're having a great day. So for the last few days, I've just been doing some cleanup. I've taken my saw blade on my weed eater and taken down some invasive species like multiflora rose and marrow honeysuckle, and I've been just kind of cleaning up some areas that probably just needed it. I know that stuff will grow back, and some of the areas you can't really mow just because of the way the ground is, and I probably won't continually weed eat it, but if I weed eat it every spring, I think it would keep it under control. So that's what I'm planning to do. But today I have a stack of papers because I'm trying to figure out, I have all these plants coming in. I ordered some plants from Proven Winners because I want to just see how they do. They are more expensive than I like my plants to be. I normally store all my seeds and then put them in the ground, but I got some things like holly and Coralberry, Proudberry, and I didn't get a lot, like not rows of it, even though I'm a flower farmer. I just want to kind of get these plants in and see how they do and decide if it's something I'd want to pursue or not. And then I also got some David Austin roses, and I'm trying to figure out where to put these things because I don't have enough to make rows of them, but figuring out where to put all these is my problem, because in the beginning I'm gonna have to water them quite a bit, and then once they're established, hopefully they just go for it. But there are a lot of areas on the farm, like there's this area here around these oak trees, which would do, obviously it gets morning sun, and then, but that's just right now. When these get a full canopy of leaves, I assume they would still get the morning sun, they wouldn't get afternoon sun. So I've been looking at all the different requirements. Some things like that have wet feet, so I thought, oh, maybe down by that little like creek or, you know, by the pond might be good, but then I'm gonna be having to bring up like 5-gallon buckets of water or something to get them watered. So there's things like that where, I don't know, I guess when it rains, I wouldn't have to worry about watering them, which is good. And then when it's really dry, I'd be able to drive my truck up here. It would be nice to have like a gator or something that I could just zoom up the hill and water everything and cut it if I need to cut it or do whatever I need to do. But first on the list is a tractor. Second on the list is a gator. And honestly, I've been thinking a wood chipper would be nice because I could make my own mulch and not have to buy it. And there's obviously plenty of mulch here on the farm or things to make mulch out of. Especially, I've been doing all this cleanup and my brush piles are getting way out of hand. So good girls. It's a beautiful day. The puppies are happy. The birds are happy and singing. It feels like spring. But see, just like areas like this where it's just, I mean, you can't just come in and mow this at this point, which this is kind of a ditch anyway, so you probably could never mow it, but I don't know. I've been cleaning up stuff like that, and I know it'll just come back, but maybe in some way it helps for a little bit. Look at the ducks. The geese are staying. But even I wonder if the holly would do good around the pond, you know, because when the roots got deep enough, it would have a water source. It does say that it likes to have wet feet. So making a little garden somewhere around the pond might be cute. The problem is coming up here and taking care of it, just because I spend so much time in the field and I'm scared it would be out of sight, out of mind. So, I don't know. But I'm going to just take a look around today. I'm going to continue doing some cleanup, and we'll just see what the day brings. That's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been watering, feeding. Monday I have a succession of bells of Ireland to do. In a couple weeks, I think it's 6 weeks from our last frost date. So it's really going to pick up I'll start putting stuff in the ground and the season will take way. But right now, for a couple weeks, I do have some time to do some cleanup. But what I've been doing is I've been cleaning some things up and trying to think, where can I put all these plants coming in? Maybe I could start somewhere and make a little garden. And if every year I made a little garden, maybe it would be spectacular someday. Another dream I have, which, I mean, this is all dreaming, and I know it probably will never be a reality because the money that things cost is just absurd. But I've always thought, as I'm walking along that pond dam up there, what if I looked down and that was a pond right directly below it with like steps down to it, or a waterfall? I mean, if we're dreaming, we can make it like grander than we'll ever see before, right, in our imaginations. So I always picture like flowers, a little flower shed, pond, and you got this nice walk going through it. I know, not reality. It'd be awesome if it was reality, but probably not reality. But you can dream like that, and then you can think, well, I can do little things. Like, I can do little things that'll make me happy. So I think the first thing, I started cleaning up this whole area, because we have this picnic table. All of that I pulled out of that ditch, because that ditch is full of just stuff. I think that's just where they put stuff in the old days, and so I'm just kind of pulling it out of there as I can and seeing what I can do. But yeah, so if you walk through here, this is where I started cleaning it up. I started pulling things out, but I just kind of started cleaning it up. This is a big fence, so, you know, I'll probably get my truck down here and pull that out. But I don't even know what's under here. Like, there's a lot of stuff under here. But I started just cleaning it up, doing what I can. The flower season will be booming soon and I won't have time, and I have found that cleaning stuff up in the spring is the best time to do it. There's no leaves, it's not as big, and it's easier to manage. So I'm just going to keep kind of cleaning this up until I have a vision of where I can put all of these plants. So that's what I've been doing. Stay tuned. Hopefully I can make a really pretty garden out of it, or a really pretty space, and hopefully they live. My one thing is I will have to bring water to stuff to get it established. So it would be nice to be as close as possible. I guess if it's raining, I won't be able to drive my truck, but then I don't need the water. So when it's dry, I'll be able to bring my truck down with water. So we'll see. That's what I've been doing. That's what I'm up to on the flower farm. But then I also have areas up here around like the house and the water, where I could also do something to make a garden, and it'd be a lot easier, it'd be a lot less work. But these areas already look pretty nice, and they already have stuff going. But you have taking care of stuff all in one location too. This gets really shaded up here just because of all the trees. Like, that's a big tree, that's a big tree. So even you can see, even now in the morning, with no leaves on any of these trees, it's still not as bright of a space. But on this side, I think it would get a lot of sun. So over here might be a really good spot for roses, you know, or I don't know about the holly because there's not real wet areas over here. The wet areas are over there on that side of the farm, really. And then up by the barn, there's a wet area. So there's a lot of decisions, a lot of places where I can make it. I probably need it to be easy to maintain because the flower farm takes a lot of time in the summer. but always trying to make things look better or trying to make it cleaned up. And maybe this would be, I know these oak trees though put a ton of shade, and I do have some plants that need the shade in this list, but I have a lot of plants that need the sun and need water. So decisions. It'll be interesting to finally just say, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm doing it, and then see how it takes shape. And then there's also like this area over here by this barn. There's actually like a it's really wet over here. I don't know if there's an underground spring or what, but the problem is there is a walnut tree right over here, so it couldn't be on this corner. I don't think that's a walnut tree, I think that is, so maybe over here would be okay. It would get a lot of sunlight, and I could clean up this corner and put it on this side. It would get a lot of sun. It's really shaded though from these trees too, so I'd almost have to get rid of this burn pile, and I could do like a pretty garden in here. You could do a shade garden on this side. So many areas, so many places you can make a garden and put plants. So just trying to figure out an old tractor, really old tractor. This building's not the safest, I don't know on that either, but yeah, I don't know. I could clean up all of this area and make this a garden around here too, but I don't know how long that building is gonna last. I don't know if they could just pick up that side and then it'd be fine, because it seems like it's just that side. I really don't know much about the structure of buildings, but that'd be right by the farm, so that'd be a lot easier maintenance. Could you imagine this field? All flowers, as far as you could see. I'd have to have a lot more help. You never guess that she's 15 years old sometimes. I think she's ready to go though. She's leading me back to the car. She wants her treats, her after walk treats. She did a full blasted loop around the garage. Good girl. Hey, good girls. Yeah, you guys are crazy. And she's 12. The black one's 12 and the little one's 15. So here's like my little makeshift bridge area. And you can kind of see this ditch is just kind of a mess. But what I'm doing is I'm putting cardboard down, and then I'm putting mulch on it to try to kill some of these weeds. So I've gone through and I'm trying to weed eat and cut everything out. And then that way I can mow up against this and hopefully shoot the weeds away from it, and maybe put my plants along this ditch and kind of pretty it up a little bit. We will see how it goes. There's a lot of cement, so I kind of like made sure I showed the cement chunks, but it's not just where you can see. So like I took a metal rod and kind of went down in the ground, and there's definitely cement even under, you know, it's just silted in over the years over the cement, but under it is cement. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna put the plants on the outer edge of this, and then just there's areas where I didn't see cement and make sure to like tuck them in there. And then over in that along there, it's a little bit thicker down there with the tire. I think that's where I'm going to put the holly because it's wet and there's no cement. Like the cement just kind of runs from that big tree trunk to like right in here somewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully it works out. We'll just have to see. I mean, I know that weeds and stuff will get in the mulch and grow and stuff like that, but hopefully, you know, just getting them started off, and then maybe they'll crowd out the weeds over time and I can just mow around them or mulch around them or do whatever I need to do. But I would like to kind of get this ditch. If holly grows really well in it because it's wet, then it'd be awesome to have holly and maybe some like red twig dogwood and stuff like that, like growing along here, because then I can use it in the wintertime. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but I've been putting this mulch down, and check out the bees. They have just come down and they are completely covering all of the mulch. It's insane. I don't know what's going on. I've kind of put some cages. I measured out some of the plants need 4 feet of space at maximum width, and some of them need 5. So I just kind of set cages up. I hope you can see them in here, but right here is where I'm going to put the holly. So I'm going to have 3 of the Winterberry Holly and a Mr. Poppins, because in order to get the berries, it said you have to have a male and 1 male plant to, I think, every, I better not even say, it's like 3 or 4 or maybe 5. So I have 3 of the Winterberry and then the Mr. Poppins. So I'll probably put the Mr. Poppins right down there, and then I've got a couple scattered on the side. And then right here in this little area, which is a little bit, this is a little further from the water, it doesn't get as wet. So right up here I'm putting the Arctic Fire Redwood Dogwood. So hopefully those go 5 feet wide. And then right here in these 3 spots, all those plants are 4 foot wide. So theoretically, at their fullest, they should all kind of grow into each other and create a small little hedge. But most of these plants only get 5 feet tall, so it won't be humongous, but it'll cover up all of that cement in the ditch, and hopefully they live like a happy little life. And hopefully they shade out the other side of it so not as much stuff grows, and maybe I can put in some shade things like ferns and stuff like that behind them. We'll see. But right here is the pink coralberry. So those 3 will be the pink coralberry. So, and they set up a little bit further from the water too. They like to have average, like on the wet scale. And so I think they'll get that. And on really dry times, hopefully the roots are down in the water source. So we will see. We'll see how they do. If they don't do well here, maybe I'll have to get other ones some other year. But I'm hoping they live their best life over here. And I hope maybe I can fill this in with some yarrow. Maggie knows some things different over here. But I'm hoping I can maybe fill it in with yarrow or put little things in just to hopefully control the weeds and let this area just be full of some nice pretty shrubs that I can easily, my garden's just right here, so I should be able to easily just come down here when I'm cutting and cut off of these. These will be more like a winter interest type thing, other than the Proudberry Coralberry. I think hopefully it blooms in the summer. And then I made it a little easier for like the dogs to cross, and I have a little bit of space right in here, although there is a lot of cement right there, but I could tuck in maybe some flowers. If I have extra yarrow, if I have extra delphinium, just some like perennial. I just want it all to be perennial, because I'm not going to run drip down here or anything like that. The first few years I'll water those shrubs, and then hopefully after that they kind of just take off on their own. I mean, I might have to occasionally take care of them if it's too dry out, but normally we get a good amount of rain in Iowa. So that is the start of prettying up this area down here. There are some things that need to go, There's definitely some of these junipers could go. They're not really needed down here. There's plenty all around the farm. The big ones would stay, but these little ones that are just going to grow up into the other trees, there's not a point of those. So I could get my saw and cut those down. I'll probably wait. They don't need cut down right now, but someday I can cut them down. And then there's also the invasive Morrow honeysuckle. So that will probably get cut out. But again, the bees really like that in the spring. So until I have a lot of interest and a lot of things going on in the spring, I will only cut those out as needed and when I need the space for them. And I do want to, once those plants get tall, I'm thinking that the other side will be completely shaded, just because the sun, you know, goes that way in the sky. So that's a pretty shaded area, especially you can see right now the shade of the oak tree without its leaves. So all morning that's shaded, and then in the afternoon it would be shaded. So it might be really pretty along the other bank to do like a stilby or something like that. And it would be maybe coming up from behind since they only get 5 feet tall. I don't know. We will see. It's fun to experiment and try things out and see how they work. So hopefully that's a good thing for the ditch. And if it works really well, you know, I can hopefully fill that all along there with holly and winter interest, and that way I can take my season even through the winter time and selling stuff like that. So we're gonna see how it goes, but I appreciate you. This was a couple day project, so a few change of clothes, but that's ready. So now I've got to figure out where my 6 rose bushes are gonna go, and then I have a few ferns, and I know they're shade loving, but I need to find where I want to start them because it might be an area where I get greenery. I'm kind of thinking up there is a lot of shade, especially with the oak tree, the barn. I might try clean up that area up there and put ferns, because ferns just kind of keep multiplying. So I think that'd be really good and I could just have a lot of greenery from them. So I might put those up there, and so that'll be another project. I still need to pick up all of this with my truck, which I think I'm going to try to get after today. But I'm going to go ahead and put this video together just to get you guys updated on what I'm doing. I did have a note on my calendar to start Golden Marguerite, which is like Tinctoria Kelways or something like that. And there's some things coming up, so I'm probably gonna have to move some of my colder flowers out here. That this week does get down pretty low at night, still dropping into the 28s and stuff, but now I'm seeing, I think starting maybe next Thursday, for the next 10 days I don't see anything that low. So I'll probably start hardening off my first round of snapdragons. I'm going to start a succession this week, and then my Lysianthus and my ranunculus, and I'll probably start putting those in the field in a week or so. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, and I hope I see you in the next one.